Hello, everyone. Not in my usual setup. I'm at my mom's beach house in Rockport. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna get this started. So I'm gonna invite on Megan Davenport, this week's guest. Ooh. Hello. Yay! How are you?
I am good. I am really good. I'm super excited to be on with you and to talk about this. This is my first live podcast ever. So I feel really grateful that you have invited me to join you on your show.
My show. Yeah, welcome. I've been doing a couple of these and kind of going down the list of the people that I want to join. And when you said the topic of what you wanted to talk about today, I was like,
Yeah,
which
it's
I think is a really good thing. I think I love going for the juicy stuff. I love talking about the things that everyone thinks about, but not everyone is necessarily talking about, you know? So I honor your bravery and your, immediate willingness to be like, yeah, let's go there. Let's talk about the stuff. Um, so I kind of want to get like with you. Um, but first, just very briefly, I want to give our viewers some context so they can learn a little bit about you. So you're in Atlanta. You are a professional healer, teacher, and guide. You're one of international instructors. You've served on Healers Academy. You've been doing this work with Mystery School for a long time. So I would love to hear a little bit about, if you can think all the way back, what brought you to this,
yeah.
what brought you to this path, and a little bit of what your life has been like, what the shift has been like working with the Mystery School and doing this work full time, what it has done for you.
Wow. We could talk for days just on that.
I
Um,
know, I know.
so I found the mystery school at a point in my life where I was very confused. I was in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and was sober for several years. And I felt spiritually dead, even though I was very serious about the 12 steps and service and all of that. I still very, very much didn't feel connected and had a great job working in mental health, which was like my dream. And I couldn't reconcile inside of myself why I was so unhappy. And it was actually somebody that I met in the program that said, hey, I have this tool called the life activation, and I think it'll help you. And I didn't really believe in energy or metaphysics at the time. I was a little more, I didn't know what, I didn't know what magic was, right? And I certainly didn't think it was a real thing. But I was at a point in my life where I was kind of despairing. And I wanted something more. There was this part of me that was like, there's something I'm supposed to be doing. I thought I was doing it, but I wasn't. And so I took that leap of faith and I received that modality, and it drastically transformed my life. And I had very tangible results in 4 months, and left the job that was crushing my soul. And like, I started working on my own, and I got an apartment on my own at 27, was finally taking care of myself, and just like massive change. And the only catalyst that could have caused that was the life activation. So then I was curious. I still wasn't a believer, but I was curious. And so I asked, okay, well, what's next? And she said, well, if you're really wanting to find true liberation and freedom in your life, then Empower Thyself is for you. And at the time, when I heard those words, like liberation specifically, I was like, I need that. I don't know why I need that, but I need that. And I hung on to that. And I took the class, and I haven't looked back. And that was in 2007. And it's been such an adventure. Like, my life is so joyful, and it's free. That's the thing. Like I've achieved that level of freedom that she was talking about, the liberation of I get to serve and literally be in love all day long, and be in joy and serve and travel the world. I travel all over the world bringing these teachings to people and helping them to light up, helping them to remember their true self and their divinity. And that gives me such hope for the world and for society, because really we all just want to remember. We all just want to be in harmony and in love and living a life of purpose and living our potential. And the tools from this lineage have affected my life in such a profound way, and I've seen it truly affect change in people's lives that I work with. So it's been such a fun, life is fun. Life is an adventure, and it's meant to be lived. And I wasn't living before mystery school. I think that's the difference, is that there was a part of me that was really just not awake, not alive. And ever since that life activation, I woke up.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing that story. And I can feel the love and the joy, and the like ecstatic bliss that comes for me when you talk about that service. And I do think that that's something that is so missing from a lot of people these days, is they, you know, kind of like dread waking up in the morning. They dread going to sleep at night. And that's not the way, that it should be. It's not the way that it's supposed to be. There's so much more fulfillment and joy and vivaciousness that we can experience in life. So thank you for doing the work that you do. Thank you for showing up for yourself and so many others. I know you've shown up for me personally, and I appreciate that so much. Yeah, so let's get into the topic today. You wanted to talk about gender and body dysmorphia, and there's a lot of stuff out there. You know, I think almost everybody at some point in their life has probably experienced some level of body dysmorphia or some sort of like disconnection from their body. It's a really big part of actually what I found was really helpful in our spiritual practice, is that it's not just about going out, you know, leaving your body and transcending all of your problems and having this higher dimensional experience, but actually bringing that energy down into our bodies and into our physical life. Like that's why we have the tangible results in our life, is because we're really bringing that energy down into ourselves. So it's a big topic. I'm going to kind of hand over the floor to you and just kind of see, because I feel like this is something that you're really ready to address, and I want to see where there's so many places we could start. So I would love to hear where you want to start this.
Yeah, so the skies just opened and now it's raining. So we have a purifying rain that is occurring as I began speaking right now. So thank you, heavens. Oh, did you hear that? Fun! Okay, so
alrighty then.
So, you know what really triggered a sense of wanting to talk about this topic is in recent days, I've been on TikTok and other social media, and I've seen people talking about how they don't see themselves like when they in the mirror. When they look in the mirror, they don't resonate with what they're looking at. And I've felt that my whole life until I started to connect with my spiritual nature. Because the reality is this is not who I am. It's just the vessel to contain who I am. And so when I had this download, I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I've struggled for so long. This is why I've had such confusion my whole life. It was because I only connected and resonated with this. And that's not truth. That's not reality. And I may need to go inside because that was really
I was like, ooh, we have like smooth rain sounds. And then all of a sudden it became like, okay.
It just became really loud. So I'm going to go into my office.
But it's been really hot in the South. So maybe it's something you guys really need, is this kind of like cool down.
Yes. Well, Florida it's just so hot. It's always so hot here. So when I was little, I have a twin sister. And I was very feminine. And she was very masculine, right? Because we were actually fraternal twins. And so I remember like thinking that I should be more like her. I remember thinking that because she was the firstborn and I was the secondborn. And I was like, well, am I supposed to be like that? And then everybody, because all of our friends came to play with her, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I should be more like that. And then I was made fun of because I would wear a tutu out. Like, you know, I wore a tutu at 6 years old, but people made fun of me for being feminine. And I started to neglect or ignore and push that part of me away because of the way that I felt society in general looked at me or approached me. And so I'm going to sit down. And so I went about my life thinking I was supposed to be one way versus who I truly was. So really the question came down to how am I gonna really be who I am? And so we experience in life so much around, you know, well, this is what society says, and this is what your parents tell you to do, and this is what, you know, you see on social media. Like, I can't imagine what it's like for kids these days, because I didn't have that. You know, I was raised in the 80s. We didn't have social media, so I can't even imagine the kind of information that they're getting outside of themselves. But I know for myself, growing up with a mother that very much resonated with masculine energy, that it wasn't really okay to be feminine. So it was living in the shadow of my sister, who I love, by the way, and she has a wonderful family and two nephews. But she was very tomboy, and I felt in the shadow of that. And then I also experienced my mother being from where she grew up and how she was raised, that masculine was better, right? So these are the preconceived notions, the indoctrination and the programming that we all undergo and experience in our life, right? These patterns that come out in our adult life so that we can heal and move through. So when I think it was, yeah, so this is deep, so this is personal. I started my menstruation at a very young age, at 10 years old, and nobody warned me about it. Nobody had a conversation with me, and no one said that this was going to be happening, and so I was very afraid, and I didn't know what my body was doing, and it kind of caused a little bit of a traumatic experience. And I remember after that really not wanting to be a woman. When I started to have breasts coming in third grade, and going through puberty very quickly at a young age, that I didn't like this body because and everybody used to say, oh, you're so mature for your age. And I'm like, I'm 12. Like, you know, but like, you know, I'm okay, right? And so then my mother puts me in modeling school at 12 years old because she wants me to, you know, stand in my beauty. And I just developed a really, really, really messed up opinion of myself. And I was very confused. And I actually stopped bleeding. I stopped having a menstrual cycle. Yeah. So I would only get it maybe once every 9 or 11 months because I just really shut down my body. Like, because my mind is powerful. Even as, you know, like I wasn't an adept or an initiate or anything like that, our mind is still powerful, and it will create based on where it's going and what it's doing, what it's thinking, right? And so I set my mind in action, and it created. And so I shut down my cycle. And it wasn't actually until, ironically, my first year of Kabbalah, that halfway through in Tiferet, that I started to unravel that programming and indoctrination, that I was able to start to cycle again. And now it's every month, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It is.
But I just want to comment on a couple of things that you said. You know, in the beginning of my spiritual journey, actually, you know, healing femininity and feminine embodiment is a huge part of what drew me to spirituality and to mystery school. And in the same vein, as you said, studying Kabbalah is what really healed my feminine energy. But what I also realized is that you can't heal the feminine energy without also looking at the masculine, without also looking at the masculine side of that. And Kabbalah so beautifully weaves together not only feminine and masculine energies, but also like the mind and the emotions, you know, the higher and the lower self. All of these, you know, and we could get into some like deep metaphysics here of how there's always these sort of like opposing and complementary forces that create a dance of creation at so many different levels.
Right.
Of
But we don't, but in, you know, in standard, like world standard, people don't talk about that. And we don't discuss the greatness of men and the greatness of women. Instead, we're talking about toxic masculinity and the shadow feminine, and oh, we should be shadow feminine and harness and accept that as reality. But it's so, it misses the mark in so many ways. And yes, Kabbalah addresses so many pieces of it. I think for me, and I think probably the story for a lot of people, not everybody. I get that everybody, you know, that some people may really feel like that they're in the wrong gender. But my story was, it really came down to how confused I was and how my programming and indoctrination told me that I was wrong. And that this body was wrong. And that I was broken because I was in this body. That was my story, the script that continued to run and over and over and over again until Kabbalah and the other healing, Auric region. I just completed Auric region. Oh my God. So good, because it took me to that next level of like, wow, it's really awesome to have breasts and all these, like, that's a big deal for me. That's a really big deal because it's so comfortable for me to be forceful and to move and to do and to go. But I don't want to be that anymore. Not that it's not good, because it is. It's awesome. I love it. I love it when my husband steps into that energy. It's great. But in order for him to do that, to truly step into that, I have to be able to step into the divine feminine. I have to be that container. So we women are leaders. We are leaders. We lead the world. And it's so important for us to lead ourselves and to remember that, lead our own lives. And when we can lead our own lives and our own world, that will trickle out into the universe. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of this whole journey has just been, of course, my own inner healing. But I want to share it with people because I know people feel the same way. I know people, and it could be just that, like, one of my big things, and I teach this in Empower Thyself, is one of the big things that I've struggled with is looking in the mirror and seeing myself and just having such a horrible judgment of like, oh, you look terrible. God, well, you put on weight, or whatever it is that is the opinion that is happening, instead of, look how beautiful you are. Look how your beauty of your spiritual self shines through your physical vessel. That's how I've needed to, I would say, marry the two, because our physical shell, yes, it is beautiful, but it isn't all just who we are. We have to acknowledge that we're more than this. This is just a rental vehicle. We are eternal. We are eternal. We were here, and we were there before, and then we're going there. And so it's like, this is super fun. My body is super fun. I'm gonna enjoy it while I'm here. Like, take me for a ride. Let's do the thing, right? That's how we should approach it, instead of these biased opinions about me. And those biased opinions came from society and family and our programming and indoctrination. And I know you could probably relate to that.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of like reinforce exactly what you just said of you know, this is so much of what we think is real, and what we think is the end all be all of our lives and of our world is not even like the beginning of the sentence. You know, it's like not even a fraction of everything of what we truly are and what this world and this universe is about and beyond. This galaxy is beyond.
It's like I like to think of it as this way, like we just got off our flight and we have a layover and we're in the airport at the layover. That's what Earth is.
Yeah.
Right? And so you can check all the sites and stop at the shopping and do this and eat this good food and experience this and look at those beautiful people, and then we get on our flight and we continue on our journey. That's the way I like to think of it.
Yeah, and how important it is in the healing journey to really examine one's thoughts. And what I think really so helpful with the path, life activation, empower thyself, Kabbalah, auric region, Kabbalah, King Solomon healing modality series, all these things are going to peel off these layers of our thoughts that aren't even actually our thoughts, and those thoughts are creating reality, but the thoughts aren't ours. So is the reality ours? Am I actually living my own reality, or am I living some weird amalgamation of all this stuff that I've been told that I decided? I was like, okay, well, I don't know what else it could be, so I guess I'll just accept this for what it is, And the purpose of the mystery school being present on the world today is to be like, is that it? What do you think? Do you think it could be something else? And what is going to be the process of unraveling all that other stuff to find out like what really is at your core? Who am I? Where do I come from? What is my purpose? And giving you the tools to answer those questions, because I think that's what a lot of people get caught up in the gender discussions, is what they think is feminine or what they think is masculine, or I don't want to have anything to do with either of those, which
right.
I get.
Yeah.
Look
yes.
at societal standards of what is feminine, what is masculine, like I'm all set too. It wasn't until I understood these as spiritual concepts, like principles, that I could be like, it was the same way of like, coming to mystery school and hearing that like, I am an eternal being. And my mind was like, what? But my heart was like, yes, thank God someone is finally saying this. And so really tuning into those is that freedom that you experience, that freedom that comes of like, yes, like this is the universal truth. This is the foundation of reality of the world and of life. And when you tune into that and let all that other mumbo jumbo fall by the wayside, how much peace and joy can actually flow through.
Right. And I think, so much of everything that you just said, yes. Yes. The reality is when we're talking about these energies, we're talking about energies. So it's feminine and masculine energies. And we all have both. That's the thing, is that we all have both. Some of us may resonate more with one or the other, but we all have both. Now, however, the physical vessel, the physical body that we have chosen, that we chose to have when we came here, because it was a choice, this is what's reflecting of our sex, of our gender. But that doesn't mean we don't flow the energies of divine masculine or divine feminine. So that's a key piece too, right? And my story, there was a part of me that was like, I don't really know, like with the, being kind of in between. I don't really know, because I also experienced with my magical name being opposite, that I was like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to be a woman. Maybe okay, this is a greater understanding of who I was. But truly, it's just about the way the energy moves. The energy. It's all really what it's about, is the energy. The dysphoria, that is, I think, something that everybody struggles with. A little bit of what they see is not truth, like you were talking about reality. And the thing is perception is skewed. And perception is skewed because we're not aware of all of our senses. So we don't actually see truth because we have rose-colored glasses on. We don't even realize that, and not to mention the veils of life that we all experience. So we're not seeing reality the way that it is. Like, we don't see truth for truth. And so we have to dive into self-discovery and dive into, the studies of the mysteries and get healing work so that we can begin to start to perceive correctly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of dissonance that I feel happens, people struggle with when their external world or what they're experiencing externally is not matching
Right.
their internal world. And I totally um, empathize with that struggle. It does create a lot of suffering. It creates a lot of suffering in one's life. And I think what can be really helpful to shift that for people is maybe because people feel that dissonance and they almost like move towards it
Mm.
and almost increase the contrast almost more as a way to like, okay. And, to give like a context, like I remember, before mystery school, one of the ways that I really dealt with my emotional turmoil was through art. But I would go toward, you know what I mean? I would like dive into that suffering, dive into that pain, because I thought if I could get to the bottom of it,
Mm.
if I could really experience like the fullness of it, maybe it would heal.
Mm.
But what I realized after initiation and after receiving healing work was that like that was not the direction that was going to lead me to resolution. Or
Correct.
it was actually moving in the opposite direction, but without the tools, without the healing, without the tools, when you're left sort of on your own, you're like, I don't know what to do. Like maybe this is the way. You're really just navigating choppy waters
Mm.
by with no compass. You've got holes in your boat,
Yes.
you know? And it's no wonder that life can feel like such a struggle sometimes when that dissonance is happening.
And
But
that's a very real thing. It is a very, very, I mean, I struggled with it. I know many people have struggled with it and not feeling right in my body. And I'm 42, and I've struggled with it my whole life. There's days when there's a little bit of confusion, or there's a little bit of like that, like you said, dissonance. But when I'm able to stop and connect with my higher self and do my rituals and step into my daily practice of connecting with spirit and meditation and things like that, that's when I feel who I really am. That's when I really know. And it's not the mind or the body playing tricks on me. That's when I can really connect and be fully me, is when I have this spiritual practice, and also when I step into service. Because when I work with clients and I work with my students, they were always reminding me of me. And that's awesome. Because mirror work is great. And I love to be in service. I love that. It's such a joy for me, teaching and doing healing work and just being with people and connection. Connection has always been super important for me, because struggling with addiction, that was a big core root of my looting, is not being connected. So I think at the end of the day, I think we just have to really start asking the deep questions and seeking more, and not just assuming that we think we know what it is. It's that, that I'm on the wrong gender, or it's, it's because of this trauma, or it's because of, my mother didn't accept me, or whatever it is. Like, go deeper. What is that? Like, I always say that the drug addiction and my alcoholism was a symptom of a core belief structure that I had, right? And so I think that this is very similar. Now, I know that some people, it may be very real, and I honor and I love you, brother and sister. But what I'm saying is I think that we need to really start seeking deeper questions within ourselves, and allow the light to come in and illuminate truth within us. I think that's going to be the greater teacher. And of course, our modalities will help.
right. Right. Well, that's what, everything that we're saying was, that you're saying about asking deeper questions, like that's really what the path is all about, right? Because our, the sort of the, over all the doors of a mystery school is the words know thyself, right? So the driving force. That's what really moves us to receive healing, to receive initiation, to receive, you know, Kabbalah, all of these things is like really the drive to answer the question, who am I? And all of the other questions that come with that, who, because we are, like you said at the beginning, we are not our physical body. This is a small, teeny tiny fraction of who we are. And there's so much more to explore. We could spend lifetimes exploring it. And each step on the path from receiving an activation, or like the rituals that you talk about that really build our spiritual muscles, that build our spiritual container for us to be able to hold more light and allow that light to shine within and shine without. It's all about asking the right questions,
Yeah.
receiving the light or awareness, the love, the self-acceptance, the forgiveness, the inner knowing peace, the joy that comes with that, and allowing and yeah, letting that programming, that indoctrination, that stuff that is not, I mean, just look at where that stuff has brought the world.
Right.
We can very, very clearly see that it's not really helping.
Well, I can speak for me and my personal journey. And a lot of it has just been lack of self-love and self-acceptance. And I needed to get to the core of why that existed in my life. And so we can see the world and the just the anger and the separation and what is happening, and see that people are just, you know, one of the key teachings of Empower Thyself, as you know, is that a need is love. And the world needs love.
So much.
So much. And if I can be that vessel of love, if I can be that mirror of love for people, that embracing, nurturing, accepting heart for people, then my mission as well. Then I have completed my mission. Because that, we all need that. I need that. Right? So if I can affect change because I've loved fully, then that is a beautiful life indeed.
I think you are well on your way, goddess.
Yeah.
You are. We always have a little bit more to go. We can always improve. We're never perfect. The state of being perfected.
Always growing.
Always growing. I think you're doing really well.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I love your heart so much. I really do. I can really feel it. I can feel it in everything that you speak of, and I can feel your desire to want, like, it's like you have a big heart and you want to make sure that it's felt.
Yeah. I just want people to know that it's okay. You're okay. We're all struggling in some form or fashion, and it's okay, and you're okay, and there's a family of light workers in Modern Mystery School or anywhere in the world that wants to be there for you, to support you. Hi.
Hello.
Bessie. We're right here.
Austin, Megan is in Florida. We're all over the world.
I'm all over the world. Don't be shy. You can contact me.
Slide in those DMs, girl. Or guy.
And whatever, even if they just, you know, I want people to feel safe. Like, I want people to have a safe container to talk about what they're going through. And it doesn't have to be about this topic. It can just be about what happened today. Like, they experienced something and it doesn't feel right in their body. Well, okay, great. Let's talk through it and get to whatever was triggered or whatever it is. And let's move through it. My background originally was in mental health and working with bipolar, and like I worked across the board for 8 years working in that field. So I do genuinely want to help people. I was 6 years old, and when I was 6 years old, they asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said I wanted to be a psychiatrist because I wanted to help heal the mind and help heal people. That was my answer.
Big word for a 6-year-old. A lot of syllables.
I don't know. It just happened. But I think it was just my soul speaking. I think it was just my soul, like, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your heart and your soul knew, and you're like, okay, that's the word for that. Sure.
Yes.
you know? And then as that grew and evolved, it was like, okay, now the word for that is spiritual guide.
Right. And healer.
And healer.
Yes. All hospitalar, right? Like we teach. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk about this.
I really
I'm really excited for any kind of ripple effect that will be caused, that will be as a result of this topic, and us just talking and communing and being with one another. Because that's also really important too, is just for us to show up and just show our love for one another, and also for humanity. Because at the end of the day, we both really love humanity, and we want change in this world.
Yes, we do. So much, so much. And the people who also want to change in this world, starting with themselves, please like and follow Megan's page, Luminous Center. And if you're anywhere near, is in Florida and want to stop by, schedule a session or a consultation, check out her classes, please do so. And if you're not in either of our communities and you would like to begin working and begin a path of spiritual self-mastery with the Modern Mystery School, we have a whole list of practitioners to help you with. You can message us. And thank you so much for watching. Megan, thank you so much. I'll see you in like a week.
We're gonna see you soon.
It's fun.
Bye.
Love you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.